You keep giving and giving and giving, but something inside you never feels full. And the truth is, this is people pleasing. And people pleasing, it's not just a habit. People pleasing is a survival strategy. And today, we're gonna speak about how to get out of it, along with explaining where it comes from. Welcome to this new series where we go from survival to self-leadership, where you're gonna learn how to go from surviving to leading yourself without shame, without self-sabotage, without guilt, and instead with trust, with alignment, with purpose, with conviction. Today I want to speak about people pleasing. What's the psychology behind it? What are the mechanisms? How to get out of it? Some tips and tricks, and the reasoning. So make sure to grab pen and paper because it's gonna blow your mind. If you don't know me, hi, my name is Chrisana. I'm basically a psychological life coach. If you've been here before, welcome back. And yeah, let's get into the video. So I want to start with some misconceptions. People pleasing is not just being nice. People pleasing is a survival strategy, and it's rooted in a specific nervous system response, where we're gonna get into that in a bit. So there is a big difference between being nice and being kind. Being nice is appeasing people at all times, is doing favors and things for other people at your own cost, not to confuse it with helping other people. And being kind is recognizing the inherent value in every single person. So to me, being nice is deeply associated with people pleasing, because usually people who try to accommodate everyone around them, they usually forget about themselves, and they do it at the expense of their own needs, desires, and wants. So they are abandoning themselves in order to give to other people. People pleasing is like pouring from an empty cup. You keep giving to other people and giving and giving and giving, even though you have nothing to give because you haven't given to yourself. And it's pouring to other people, believing if you give just enough, maybe someone will notice you, maybe someone will see you. But the reality is they only keep drinking more and more each time. So it's really important to start understanding people pleasing before we get into any solutions. At its core, people pleasing is a deep human desire to belong in a community, to be liked, to be accepted, and to be safe. But here's the thing. It comes at the cost of your own desires, needs, and wants. So when you start saying yes when you mean no, absorbing other people's emotions, avoiding conflict, or over-accommodating, what you're really doing is you're trying to prevent disconnection. Here's the irony. When you are preventing disconnection with other people, at the same time, you're disconnecting from your own self. When you are people pleasing, you are abandoning your own desires, needs, and wants by secretly desiring to feel accepted and safe and to belong with other people. Again, this is the irony. By abandoning your own needs and desires, you're trying to connect to other people. And no one can connect to other people when they feel disconnected from themselves. Constant self-abandonment leads to resentment, depletion, exhaustion, and emotional burnout. I also made a video on burnout and why it doesn't always come from working and career-related issues. So I'm gonna add it here so you can watch it, because it's gonna help you so much to understand all of it. So when you're people-pleasing, you might be saying yes when you mean no. You have hard time saying no. You avoid conflict and confrontation at all costs, even when you are hurt. You're being in the role of caretaker or peacemaker, and you constantly feel this responsibility for other people's emotions. So you're constantly trying to manage other people's emotions. This happens a lot to people who grow up with parents who disregard their emotional nature. So those children try to accommodate to their parents' feelings at all times. So believing subconsciously that at some point their parents are gonna accept them, are gonna tend to them emotionally. But that's a whole nother conversation. So let's dive into the psychology of people pleasing. So most people who have people pleasing tendencies grew up in families, experienced a lot of dynamics, or have been in systems like school or even maybe relationships that their needs were denied, their needs weren't honored. So there was a big denial of individual needs and preferences. And at the top of it, when they expressed their true desires, their true feelings, their true thoughts, they were met with shame. So maybe saying no, expressing anger when feeling wronged, or being enthusiastic or even affectionate led to shame, criticism, or withdrawal of affection. This is why your nervous system over time learned that if I make everybody happy, if I make everybody pleased, I'll be safe. Nothing bad will happen to me. Nobody will gonna shame me. This way, disagreement becomes dangerous. This way, the nervous system links disagreement with being a threat, links confrontation and conflict with being a threat, links saying no with being a threat. So what does your wise nervous system do? It avoids conflict. It avoids saying no when it doesn't mean it. It adapts so it can protect you. It's like your nervous system became a smoke detector, always on high alert, or even going off when there are the slightest signs of conflict, even when there is no fire. So you can see why that becomes so emotionally exhausting and depleting. We can also say here that people pleasing is a form of burnout. Actually, people pleasing leads to burnout. Even overachievers people please. I mentioned that on my other video because they are abandoning their true needs and desires for maybe fun or relationships in order to over accommodate to their career needs, wants, or goals. And that's a hidden sign of people pleasing too. And I know it so well because I've done it for so many years. It cost me so much of having a real life besides career goals. So it makes you think that you need to sacrifice other pieces of your life in order to be somewhere in another area of your life. So let's talk about the science behind people pleasing. So you might have heard of the 4 survival responses. When there's a big threat like trauma, our nervous system responds in 4 ways, and that is fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Fawning is the response that is related to people pleasing, to appeasing to others, to over accommodating and caretaking, all of those behaviors that make you abandon your true self. So let's break it down simply. Fawning is appeasing the threat. So that is becoming more likable or agreeable to avoid rejection and abandonment. There's a big fear of rejection and abandonment here. It's so subconscious though. It's not being shown through our thoughts sometimes, even though it can be, but it is mostly shown through our behaviors. Another way that the fawn response is being activated is by merging with others. That is abandoning your own needs to maintain some type of connection with others, even if that connection is fake, I would argue, because no connection can be created if you're disconnected from yourself. So in this way, by disconnecting and abandoning your needs, you are maintaining some sort of belonging to others, even when that belonging doesn't feel true to you. And then the fawn response is being activated by avoiding rejection and abandonment, as we discussed. So in this way, you're not being seen as too much from others, because that doesn't appear as threat to others, right? Because if you've been shamed and judged chronically for being your true self, the safest thing you can do is hide your true self and not wanting to be truly seen. Because if you would be truly seen, that would mean shame. Because in your nervous system, being seen is linked to be shamed. And that shame is dangerous because it doesn't allow you to belong to other people. The irony of the fawn response of people pleasing is that by trying to connect to others, you're constantly disconnecting from yourself. And by trying to not be abandoned by others, you're constantly abandoning yourself. And that is the biggest cost of people pleasing. Because this way we are denying our true selves. This way we are rejecting our true identities, our true preferences, our true desires, our true needs in life. And that's why so many people get stuck in life, because we forget how it is to be our true selves. And we get stuck in this chronic loop of accommodating so we can be liked. But in reality, we're not truly liked. We're just accommodating so we're not being shamed. And besides that, chronic people pleasing leads to low self-worth. You start believing, even subconsciously, that your needs don't matter. And that is being shown through your behaviors, not through what you believe about yourself. That's why sometimes it takes a bit of time to untangle the true desire, because you've covered all of those years your true self. So it takes a bit of time to untangle and reveal your true self, but it's possible. So now let's get into the how. How to get out of people pleasing, to start leading yourself with conviction, self-trust, and truly being comfortable and safe with being seen as your true self. Step 1 is awareness. So when you are actively people pleasing, when you are actively seeing yourself in this behavior, maybe saying yes when you mean no, maybe avoiding actively conflict or confrontation, name the behavior. Say to yourself, or even after the behavior, oh, this is what I did in this moment. That will allow your brain to get into a state of decision making, because this way, instead of spiraling in emotions, you're activating the prefrontal cortex of your brain. So in this moment, you're leading yourself with decision and logic instead of being drawn to the old pattern of feeling sorry for yourself or feeling maybe guilt and shame and feeling so unaligned. I want you to make that a practice, an active practice, even for 10 days. See it as an experiment. Make a list so that can be reflected and mirrored back to you. Because when we see the things we do, we can take easier responsibility for ourselves. Awareness is always the first step to change, too, and that is more of a long-term plan for people pleasing. Discover your values, your true values in life, because chances are, if you've been people pleasing chronically, you've forgotten what you like, what you don't like, who you truly are, who you don't are. You might have even created friendships and situations into your life that don't truly align with yourself, because they aligned with the fake persona you created in order to accommodate to others. Really get clear on what matters to you, not what keeps the peace. 3. Start setting micro boundaries. By starting small, you're allowing yourself to take the first courageous step, because I know it might be scary to do something you haven't done before. So act courageously. Say no when you mean no. It doesn't have to be with aggression. You can do it kindly or neutrally. If you don't experiment, you won't be able to see if you can actually create true connections in your life. And the cost is so much more bigger. When you set boundaries at the same time, contrary to popular belief, you're creating better connections in your life, because you can actually see who respects you and who doesn't. And that is a game changer. It creates so much space into your life. So the right people come into your life, the right people for you. So start by setting micro boundaries. It will change your life. And be firm with it. Don't allow yourself to sneak into the old patterns. 4th, and this is what I personally avoided for so many years when I tried to heal my people pleasing 4 years ago, don't avoid conflict. Allow yourself to experience healthy conflict and confrontation. So that might be in your workspace, that might be in your relationships, whatever feels more safe to you. Here's the thing with this: don't go back to a person that you know they will shame, criticize you, or deny your wants or needs. Go to a safe place so you can start rewiring your brain, allowing it to know that you can be safe in conflict. You can be safe in disagreeing with people. This way, you are teaching your nervous system that disagreeing doesn't equal danger. And that is powerful. Last one is regulate your emotions. Sit with them, allow them to be there, breathe into them, feel your feet on the ground, let your shoulders drop, let your jaw unclench. Do all of those somatic practices. Over time, they're gonna compound and you're gonna become so much centered in your true self instead of spiraling into doing everything for other people. At the end of the day, people pleasing is not a fault, it's a survival strategy, and it was created to protect us. Even if that protection meant to leave behind our true selves, it did lead us to survive. But now it's time to thrive. True kindness begins when you include yourself in the circle. So allow yourself to give yourself this gift. If you want to go deeper in this, actually heal people pleasing to its root, Metamorphosis is the right program for you. It's a 6-month psychological coaching container where we take you from being in all of those survival responses into thriving and leading yourself with conviction, with trust, with clarity, with alignment, not being led by shame, by fear, by disappointment, and constantly dragging yourself to the old identities and behaviors. So if this sounds like something you are ready to rewire and you are ready to step into the next version of yourself, especially if you're going through a big life transition right now, because when we are going through big life transitions, our system is so much more open to change. This is exactly what we do inside Metamorphosis. And yeah, I will leave the link down below. I would love to see you there. Let me know what is one people-pleasing behavior you're leaving behind and what is one step you're implementing this week to stop people-pleasing and start healing. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this helped you so much. And yeah, I will see you next week.